how to transform, how to use a kind of dialogue that we can transform science lessons. I would like to invite everybody to take a journey through my life, basically in 50 minutes, hopefully. I'll talk about a little bit about my past in my master's dissertation. I create this kind of concept that I call it concept activity. I would like to have some feedback about it. My current PhD project and maybe a further research program. So I did my master's dissertation because there was a problem, a persistent problem about the phase of the moon. So it's a result that literature have brought that when we ask people to explain why we look sometimes to moon, we see a shadow here. Many people answer that, well, you know, it's something like that. The reason is the shadow of the moon, because in some ways the sun is inside, they're showing in this direction, and the moon, that's here, okay, projects the shadow. It's the basically normal answer, and it's the wrong answer. Yeah? It could be works in an eclipse. But in the case of the shadow of the moon, the answer is the proper moon provokes the shadow. The sun is here. If I put a ball here, we can see that there is light this side, there is no light coming in. So it's quite a persistent problem. So I thought, so let's try to design some lessons to address this problem, how to teach this to secondary students. And then I went to the cultural historical activity theory. I worked with Vygotsky to have the concept formation, and a little bit with Davidov. Try to understand the model, try to abstract what is essential, what's the germ cell, and through the germ cell, okay, it was the effort. So, concepts and the concept systems, Vygotsky said that, okay, we have two kinds of concepts. Everyday or spontaneous concepts, they are unsystematized. We can learn by our experience, and we use them most unconsciously. I can use the word father, brother without thinking too much. It's only in my mouth. And we learn scientific concepts in a very systematized way, by definition maybe, in a formal education, and apply it very, very precisely and consciously. So when I talk about force and energy, I have a kind of knowledge where is the concept it is. And the pictures, something like that. We got to say that they create path to abstract, and this creates a kind of path to the concrete world. Yeah? And then the activity system, this is the structure. I will not talk a lot about it. I just remind that an activity is composed by a chain of actions, and actions are in our consciousness. In our conscious plane, we are aware. We know what we are doing, and you know why we are doing it. And operations is automatic. We do it, and we don't know why. It's not in our conscious plane. And then I took this test. There is a common structure between human activity and individual consciousness. And I stopped to say, this is structure. I can find this kind of structure here, and I decided to take this idea very narrow way and try to find it. And I think that let's see. I took this Vygotsky chapter 3, and he associates spontaneity with the lack of consciousness. Spontaneity and no systems. So here I try to associate everyday concepts, that spontaneous concepts, with operations. That we use both without thinking. It's not our unconscious consciousness plane, and scientific concepts with our conscious awareness. So I associate scientific concepts with actions. And more Vygotsky, chapter 5, he used complex operations direct to either a motif or a goal. We form concepts direct to a goal. There are external conditions, mechanical stabilizations, so a kind of operations as well. So I try to do this. Okay, these are two are correlated, are related. These two are related, and well, what is this? Yeah. So Leontiev give me a hint here, and I use the lecture 35. That's thinking and activity, and Leontiev says that thinking is a human activity, not something added to or separated. We can say about motive and goals as well. And the thinking appears first as an action and then as operation. He talk about the displacement, love, motives, displacement. Like in interchange goals, active and operations. So, okay, so I put here this kind of concept of thinking. So if I'm right, I came with this picture to, I would call this as concept activity. And here I talk a little bit, reminds me what Manolis was talking yesterday about praxis is the unit between consciousness and act. So here more or less what I'm trying to do is to connect concept and activity, consciousness and act. And as a dialectical union, so we cannot separate it or we will lose their relations. So if this represents the concepts of the moon, maybe what is red is the scientific meaning, maybe which is in purple is the philosophical meaning, maybe which is in red is some kind of the farmer, a kind of farmer meaning that the farmer used the moon to measure the time. And there is no boundaries, there is no endless, they are a mixture and something like that. So I cannot talk about the moon without saying in what activity we're talking about. And maybe it's kind of tricky, I can see it's a table or it's a chair. Okay, what is the activity? Yeah? Are you using to eat or are you using to sit? Okay, so now I talk about activity like learning activity or learning text, okay? So to build this model is quite hard. I have a lot of action concepts that I need to be in my mind, consciousness, and I have a lot of operations that, okay, I know that the sun always shines, but I don't need to bear this in my mind, okay? And I try to design some activities that bring some kind of operational concepts to the mind. I would like, so this is important, this could not be underlined, I have to brought this to surface. And then there is a kind of change of learning tasks or learning activities. Okay, and I went to the class. Okay? I will not talk about it. It was rich, the students write, drawing the moon phase every night, blah, 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 blah. But the model, the final model that they created was not quite right, I may say. And I went to the data, I heard what the group are discussing and what they are sharing, and I found that the dialogue between was not that rich. Okay, and I tried to in my PG to put the dialogue at the center. So the learning activity and the series of activities doesn't guarantee learning. It's what really matters is what is talked about, what's dialogue, what kind of dialogue is around the task. Okay, so I put the dialogue in the center. I can say talk between student teacher, student science, student practice. Okay. And in the United Kingdom, there is a very strong research group there about classroom dialogue that they have been research for 40 years. And I put this kind of research in a soft position. They see dialogue as a medium for education. So dialogue is a tool. We can learn to use this tool better to teach. Something more like that. So dialogue contributes to children and intellectual development. The aim is to provide opportunity to students to make independent focus on thinking process and engagement, and how to motive all these kind of things are around here. There is many concepts, okay, that you can discuss a little bit further. Actually, they use this kind of techniques, strategies to teachers to get more interaction, get more interactive, get more deep interaction with the students. So if they is to help students to share, a teacher can ask, oh, could you say more about it, and something like that. And actually, this kind of dialogue is transformative. Here, the teacher is discussing a poem that calls the Annie's Goose. The teacher asks, oh, who is the main character? Shelby. And Shelby is a student, and the student say, oh, it's the goose, the Annie's goose. Okay, any more? Amy, okay, Amy is another character. So what do you think? So it's very the teacher are controlling the dialogue. They are asking very narrow questions. The answer is very narrow. And if you can teach the students how to talk better, the discussions is much more diverse, much more profound. So students are now using because, so they are reasoning. So I think M should let out the goose because blah blah blah. And then we students say, oh, let him finish. You have to let him finish. So you have every student has the right to say, and so on. So it works. This is the main reason, and this is what I call my soft understanding of a dialogic approach. What research has shown is what matters to discussing or exchanging different and competing opinions. This is what makes learning going well in classroom. So it's provide opportunities to students to talk about their opinions, their ideas, and create their meaning, create their proper sense. And here I try to think in horizontal extent. Here I talk about group work, and here vertical exchange I talk about teacher and student interaction, where the teacher is the voice of science. So in plan something like that, you need some kind of lessons with a lot of horizontal exchange, where to each student have their proper thinking, they create the proper meaning, and then the teacher can be closer little by little to arrive here, the scientific view, the scientific idea. Okay, so this is my introduction. I have two samples of teachers, or I hope so. I plan to do a 2-day workshop just to set, or to put on the table all these ideas. But my main research focus is here. I'd like to work with 4 teachers. I would like to record their teaching, and in some meetings, week by week, watch this video together, discuss what really happens, what could be bad, what went wrong, something like that. So a kind of reflective dialogue. There is a lot of data to collect and so on. And here is my framework when I put the researcher, and there is a lot of discussion about here together. So I'm talking about co-inquire or something like that. My research questions is, the first set is how do teachers understand dialogic or the use of dialogue and what they really do. And the second, what's the implication the students learn. Okay, and then my further project, possibly, I would like to drive this notion of dialogue within the constructivity, and Matuzov said that it's an easy relationship between these two. And the real question is if it's possible to join Bakhtin with Vygotsky, they could be joined together or not. So when we use Bakhtin, and I use the words of Matuzov, Eugene Matuzov and Rupert Regev, I call it a strong approach to dialogue. Matuzov used ontological approach or instrumental approach to what I'm calling softy. Oh, I will not read this because it's the importance of the other, the otherness. Dialogue needs the gap of understanding, the difference, the meaning only exists between the difference. And then, if I believe in this, I'm seeing dialogue is transformative in another kind of way. Because I'm not thinking more in this kind of settings, but what really matters is what kind of dialogue is in place here. There is no teacher, maybe, there is no students can have their voice, students can say what they say, and so there is no teachers. And basically the last chance is to choose between these two. If at the end of the school we need diversity, or we would like to put everybody in the same place. And it's that. Many thanks.